Going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of First and Ted on a Thursday in the middle of the afternoon on the West Coast. It's a little different today. Surgery and everything that happened. Ted was kind enough to kind of push things back. Almost had to push it back again. So I literally slipped down the stairs right before I did the show. So I'm a little banged up, but I'm playing hurt. Uh, this is the first time me and Ted have talked since free agency's really hit. Of course, you guys kind of know the big topics, so we're definitely going to jump on that. And then we'll ask maybe I'll ask Ted if he thinks anything else more is going to go, or is this more or less kind of the team that we're going to have, and then we're going to go into the draft. So first of all, before we start anything, Ted, how you doing, man?
Good, can't complain. It's better that we did this today. If we did it yesterday, I would have been on my crap top and ear duds, would have had the stupid virtual background, wouldn't have sounded as good or looked as good. I mean, not that I look good, but my background wouldn't have looked as good. And so this is kind of turned out to be a win-win, keep you from having to do two shows when you were more hurting yesterday, and keep me from being, at a remote location, which
Right.
I'm not as comfortable in to begin with, and then not looking as good, sounding as good. So
Yeah, it worked out for both of us. Yeah, just the recovery with this surgery is it's more or less like once the swelling goes down and the knee's not so stiff, I'll be fine. But like I said, I biffed it right before I was coming on here. I was going on the stairs super slow, but the stairs are clean. So I just kind of hydroplated off the stairs. The thing is, I held my laptop as hard as I could. So I took the brunt of it on my side, twisted my knee a little bit, but I think I'll be all right. I just took my painkillers. I did a show at Raj last night. Everybody says I was acting really weird and goofy. So apparently I must have been high on stuff. I was just having fun. And we had a good time. And this time of year, it's like kind of fun because we could do a lot of guessing and then we don't have no games to play. So it's kind of cool to like play what do you think the Niners are going to do next in free agency or the draft. So I guess first off, we'll just get to the big news. The first day of free agency, not the first day, the first day of legal tampering, which was on Monday. A move that nobody saw coming. Me and Roger talked about this last night. None of us expected Javon Hargrave to be the guy that the Niners were going to target. But they did it the year before with Javarius Ward. They had their one big splash, and then they kind of insulated it with a lot of like role players, B-level guys. And so initial reaction of Hargrave, and what do you think he does for the Niners defense?
I mean, wow, it's huge. It's a huge pickup. He's a difference maker, an absolute monster in the middle. Great pass rusher, elite pass rusher, but not a slouch against the run either. Somebody to take the attention off of Bosa, somebody to help eat up some double teams. So it'll be more difficult to double team Bosa, more difficult to double team Eric Armstead. And it takes our D line kind of back to that elite level. Maybe not quite to where it was in 2019, but it could be with some more depth pieces. I really like this Cleveland Farrell signing, especially since it's like a vet minimum deal or close to it, under $2 million. Really exciting there too. Another Kocurek reclamation project. I don't know if I ever talked about him with you, but I found a couple clips where I did with Tom Spencer, with Jesse Naylor. And I kept saying, like, I thought he could be Arden Key 2.0 for us. And I thought he could be the next Arden Key, one of these overdrafted, but, really solid people who just, could really benefit from Chris Kocurek. So, and then also T.Y. McGill signed today for some more depth on the D-line. I think that's all we need is some depth and like an old defensive end or two, a Robert Quinn, Melvin Ingram, who's in Justin Houston type signing, and then like draft a speed defensive end. I think will be another move we'll make.
I think with the Niners right now, it's more or less like you had your big splash. You're not going to have an all-star at every position, and if you can, the fact that they have a second guy on the defensive line that is going to cause or call for double teams, and they're going to be playing next to each other, it's going to cause some problems. Kind of like the Buckner when he was here with Armstead, and we had D Ford. Yeah, it was a great signing. I think I quadruple or triple or whatever you say checked. I checked my channel or I checked my YouTube or Twitter. I'm like, okay, Raj retweeted it, Brad retweeted it, uh, and then all the big heads, like your Barrows and your Mayokas. I'm like, okay, it's good to report this. I made a short. You make your shorts like live immediately after it happened. But I was so excited, like, yo, like we went in and got like a dude, like a real dude on the inside. Uh, this is almost like the Niners saying, yeah, we screwed up. We should have kept DeForest Buckner. So here's the next best thing. And yeah, we're pretty much saying that we've given up on Javon Kinlaw. There's a lot of news saying that they might trade Kinlaw. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll use him as depth this year and then kind of jettison him out of here. But to me, it's just they're going back to what they did best, and that's that defensive line. So I am more than it's all about health, man. Keep those guys healthy. Like you said, they added some depth pieces, which was nice. So that was good. It was good. It was a good way to start Monday. Like I said, I didn't expect it. I did my due diligence and checking everything to make sure it was real, because a lot of us were trying to be the first to report it, but not at the expense of like losing respect from people with fake news. So real quick, I just want to say hi to the chat. Frank Tom Ocean, he says, yo, Aaron, hope your recovery's going well. It will, as long as I don't keep slipping down the stairs. My boy from Small Town Reviews. I'm a straight edge guy, but I love watching him try different like beers and all sorts of, stuff that make you happy, whatever he's smoking. It's weird. I have this weird thing where I like watching people do that stuff, even though I don't do it. So anytime I want to watch, I go to Small Town Reviews. You guys got to check them out. If you guys like a little, smoke your lettuce and try different types of alcoholic beverages, he's your guy. Chill guy. He's always very relaxed. And if you just want to go in there and talk about all that kind of stuff, go in there. Go to Small Town Reviews channel. Brian Culp says, be careful. Yeah, I busted my ass on the way to the basement. So I don't know, man. I'm a clumsy person to begin with. So you give me a wrapped body part and expect me not to goof. It's not going to go well. Small Town asked about Lamar. I don't think so, homie. The Niners have so many other needs that they need to address and worry about as a team. And if you go in on Lamar, you got to sacrifice some things. So I don't think so. Nick Garfoot, he says, good evening, lads. Santa Clara Era, he said, first and receipts. Is that the new name for me and Raj? Or is that's
no,
me?
That's me.
First
yeah.
and receipts.
I'm definitely the receipts guy.
You're definitely a receipts guy. We got to get that version of you, man. We got to get you hot on here. Start banging on the freaking teleprompter and like, we'll do it live. Fuck it.
We just need to get a Jimmy stand in here. That's all we need.
Oh my God, dude.
Get me 49ers cast or
49ers cast. Any of these
or
silly
AD 49ers or that Jets guy. Any Rombo does shows. Anybody who does shows and loves Jimmy G, I would go ballistic on them.
I love,
but not as much anymore now that he's gone. Like,
yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Care.
It doesn't really matter. Here's the thing with Jimmy, that if you ask people about him, what did he do well? The only argument they ever give you is he wins. I'm like, no. What else besides that does he do that you just say, you know what? There isn't anything. It was just
sneaks.
He does quarterback sneaks extremely well. Yes. It's over. It's finished. I listen. Me and Raj made I talked last night. I gave in to the excitement when he was first signed in 2017. We all did. We all thought he was his second coming, right? And then I was, I kind of knew that things were a little bit off when they had that. The following season, they went into Minnesota and he didn't look very good. And then we played the Lions and he didn't look very good either. And then, of course, he got hurt against Kansas City. I started having reservations then. And a lot of 49er fans did. 2019, he was up and down. He had his games where he looked pretty well. And he played against the Rams in that one comeback on, I think it was like Sunday night. And then he had the game in New Orleans. That was it. The game in New Orleans to me was the game that I was like, okay, maybe we were wrong about this guy. and you expect him to replicate the same thing, and it just wouldn't happen. It was like that game was an anomaly. But you're right; he's not here anymore. He is a winner, and now he's going to a pretty loaded Raiders team. So it's not
Except
like
for
he's
they
going.
traded Waller.
Yeah, let's get rid of your best tight end and then bring in a retread.
Yeah.
But
I mean, honestly, their second best weapon, unless you count Josh Jacobs.
it makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. Small town Darius Slay, he actually is re-signing with the Eagles. He's actually re-signing. It was weird. He was talking about saying goodbye. I don't know if they had officially let him go. But something happened through the course of yesterday afternoon and this morning where, yeah, he's coming back. Somehow they're going to pay
it's
him.
Because we said no. We want Isaiah Oliver.
Yeah, the Niners wanted to go the Oliver route, so they said, "Screw you, Darius Slay." My brother's like, he's old anyways. I'm like, yeah, but he's still really good.
He is really good.
Pale Time Canadian Rams fan. I love Zach. He said, "Hey, Aaron and Ted, hope all is well. Enjoyed your collaboration, Ted." Oh, you collaborated. Oh,
he was on this morning. Yeah, 9 a.m. Pacific, a coffee show, noon Eastern.
Yeah, I've been sleeping a lot with the medication, so I woke up this morning.
No, Peo was great.
Peo's a great guy. Peo's probably the most level-headed fan of another team that I've ever met. He actually came into the stream the other day and we were talking about, are the Rams rebuilding? And he didn't go on in any diatribe being like, you guys suck, like that one guy does. He was just like, oh, maybe it's a rebuild, maybe it's a retool. Well, they're gonna listen. They went and got, like I said, they got that Super Bowl. Niner fans, we can talk all the S we want, but they still got that ring. So, we could have a good competitive team every single year, but we still haven't got it. At least in the last 30 years or so. So, I don't know. That's kind of like the gist of the whole thing with the Hargrave. Yeah, let's talk about we lose Jimmy. He's moved on. A lot of people made a lot about the signing of Sam Darnold, like they were really trying to overanalyze this. And really, all he is that he's an emergency quarterback who, if all goes well, he's going to be inactive most of the year, correct? And people are trying to read into it like, could he take the job? Could he? No, that's not what he was signed for. What is your thoughts?
I mean, I think there's a slight chance that he could beat Lance out, but I don't think he'll. I think Lance would have to get injured, realistically, and yeah, I mean, I think he'll be QB2 week 1 because I don't think Purdy will be back until week 5 if we put him on IR or week 7 if we put him on PUP. Those are my two most likely returns for Purdy. Like he'll be cleared to play week 1, but he won't be in game shape and he won't have had any live practice or not much, not where you could be hit. And that's, you kind of need live bullets to get really acclimated. So, yeah. So, I mean, that's why I think that's why we went for a better QB. I don't think we would have got somebody as good as Sam Darnold if we were thinking that Purdy would really be ready week 1. I think we would have gone with somebody vet minimum, and it wouldn't have like that $7 million potential, what am I looking for? Bonus potentially. It's 3.5 to 10.5 mil his contract, and or I think we would have drafted a developmental QB, and I think we still might draft a QB, but I think it'll be like
that was exactly what I was going to say. Go ahead.
I think it'll be end of the 7th, one of those 7th round comp picks where it's just to save them from going to undrafted free agency, where they can pick. It's someone you pick them; they have no choice. But I think if Purdy was going to be ready week 1, we might have gone a little higher in the draft. Somebody like a DTR or a Hayner or a Tanner McKee or I forget the other guy's name that's been bandied about. But ultimately, I think the fact that we kicked down a little more, it shows that we expect Darnold to be QB2 week 1, and then QB3 once Purdy's back. I don't think he's there to take either job. It'll be interesting if we have 2 number 3 overall picks backing up Mr. Irrelevant at some point, though. That would be really interesting.
That is very interesting. You have to think about, you had 2 guys that were picked within the top 10 of their respective drafts, and they're playing behind a guy that, most teams passed over 3, 4, 5 times in the draft. So Uh, I'm all about putting the Niners in a position where if they ever have to be in that position, they have someone who is good enough to win a game or two. Josh Johnson was not that guy, but and let's be honest, no team in the NFL has ever been in that position that we were in. Like it just doesn't happen that you're at your fourth or fifth quarterback, you lose the guys in the NFC Championship game. The Niners went through something that hopefully that'll never repeat itself again. And so I'm totally fine with the pick. He's a comparable player. Is he what they drafted him to be? No, but that's not what we're bringing him in to be. A lot of people, man, I swear to God, you can tell who the real 49er fans are. And then you know who the clout chasers are who are just trying to get clicks on Twitter or YouTube or whatever. Because they ask these questions just to stir up things. But there's really no question in the 49ers mind because like they have their two quarterbacks, and this dude is literally coming in for the most part this year, if everyone's healthy, to be inactive most weeks. So everybody get ready to see him in street clothes most of the time. He's here just in case the worst case scenario happens again. We have a guy who's not named Josh Johnson at quarterback. So I'm totally fine with it. He can play. He's got a decent arm. He can move around a little bit. If he ever had to play in a game with these weapons, I think he would look pretty good. I don't think he would look too bad. He's never was surrounded by a good team in New York, you know? So, again, this is not a situation that I think we really need to overanalyze. But, you know, we have YouTube channels. That's what we're here to do. And people on Twitter want to do it too. So I don't think there's any controversy. I don't think there's any other thing going on besides that they just wanted a guy at third string who, if all things fail, can win a game or two. That's it. So
yeah, and I made a comp. I made a comp for Darnold today, where basically I was with Wise Soul, and I said basically he's kind of a lot like Alex Smith in that he's had 5 different OCs in 5 seasons on a couple bad teams, bad coaches, lack of weapons. So, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say that he'll be Alex Smith, but I wouldn't be shocked if Sam Darnold someday was something like Alex Smith after being with a good coach with good weapons in a good situation. I could see him getting closer to that number 3 overall than obviously the $3 million he got paid this year.
Right. I think under Kyle in this offense, like in the preseason when you see him play, he might look pretty good. You never know. You'd be like, wow, who is this? Who is this quarterback that we were seeing? But listen, people, we know who the quarterbacks are that the 49ers front office and players want. If you ask most of them, they want to have Purdy as the starter. They believe that Purdy needs to be beat out, but at the same time, right now I'm not even really. It's too early in the offseason. I honestly don't care right now about any of that.
Well,
so,
and supposedly Kyle really liked Darnold coming out too. So there's that for what it's worth.
So now he's got him on his staff.
Yep.
Jag, thank you for the super $2. He says, with Zeke or Kareem cheap? Nah, I'd stay. They're both washed, especially Zeke. You got to go young.
Kareem Hunt has character issues.
Yeah, I would stay away. I would stay away from both those guys. If anything, you know, they could always take a late round flyer on a running back again. They need to not draft anybody before the 5th round or 6th, because every time we do, they fail really bad.
Zeke's too slow.
Ramelia, I love you, man, but I know you're doing your due diligence by spamming everybody's chat, so I'm going to let you play. But
I let him in mine. I just tell him, hey, Ramelia, the only thing the Rams run is their stars out of town these days. So have fun with that. Enjoy the rebuild, buddy.
Yeah, you're definitely going through a rebuild this year. Ty Alston, what's going on, my brother? He says, what's up, faithful? He said, Aaron on during the day and not past my bedtime. Life is good. I appreciate that. Yeah, Ted, me and Ted were going to do Wednesday. I was pretty hurting yesterday, and I had Raj on later. So it gave me a chance to rest up with this knee thing, man. It's just hard time moving around once I get settled. So, and Ted was really good about it. Like right now, I'm a little bit kind of in a daze because I took some oxycodone. So if I come off like I'm on like drugs or something, I am.
Hey, you know about 10% Ty, right?
10%
He's
what?
a Ty. He's like an agent now for podcasters, trying to get people paid. You know, Mose was supposedly up for trade this off season,
For
so
real?
he's representing. He says, he says you can turn your podcast into podcash, and so like if you ever need somebody new for your team, if you got draft picks you want to trade, you can use Ty to get it. Whatever, he's he's helping people out, making moves. He mentioned it when I was on with Fair the God, and then he's come back. We've talked about it a few times since. So don't be surprised if he hits you up with some, trade offers. If you're up for trade, then you might get some cool offers. Or if you want to trade for somebody else, if you want to upgrade from me, there's
No, I
talk
like
to
you,
Ty.
Ted. You're a good dude.
He can do it.
David McNiner says, "What's up, Aaron and Ted? What's going on, my brother from another mother? Love you, man." Ty Alston, he said Aaron got his knee fixed so he could be the Niners' new kicker. Any truth to that? If they want a 6'3", 280-pound kicker who has absolutely zero lateral movement, yeah, sure, and had probably enough leg to kick maybe a 10-yard field goal. Like it would literally, I think I would miss an extra point. That's how bad it is. Yeah, I'm pretty useless now. Not that I
We
was
got to
before.
remember a 10-yard field goal is actually 20 yards because
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's true.
yeah,
Oh, that's
it's
crazy.
it's further than I could bang him to about 20, 25 yards back in the day, but I'm sure I couldn't anymore.
I knew I had he wasn't a friend. He was a neighbor. He could punt, but his punt, he had a really good leg. He was like a shorter, muscular guy. He could punt really high, but he didn't have a lot of distance. So if you were playing like shoot 'em up, bust 'em up, like you used to do when you were a kid, where you throw the ball up in the air and everybody's just slamming to each other trying to get it, he would be the perfect guy for it. So the Niners signed an interesting player yesterday, Kellen Flair. Let's see if I can say his name right. Clellan Ferrell. He was drafted in the same draft that Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, and all those guys were taken. He was
Brian
taken
Burns.
4th overall. Brian Burns, overdrafted, great motor, quick guy, a little bigger than most, and he just never panned out. He was overdrafted by the Raiders. So the Niners are doing what they usually do, which is they bring in guys who maybe have in their career not been or not living up to their draft stock, and they're going to give them a shake at this rotational opposite end of Nick Bosa. I still think the Niners need to make a move there, or maybe they go and they draft. I don't know. There's a lot of questions whether the Niners are going to make one more move. What was your take on Clellan Ferrell being signed? I kind of was like, at first, and then the more I thought about it, it kind of grew on me.
I was pumped, man. I've been predicting it all off season. I talked about it with Jesse Naylor. I talked about it with Tom Spencer. Tom Spencer is Jim Nance's analyst for CBS
Right.
Sports.
That's right.
And he's a big Bay Area sports guy growing up, and he is kind of a Raiders fan in addition to being a Niners fan. It's rare that you find folks that are Raiders and Niners fans. And he was saying that Clellan Ferrell is a great pickup, that he was overdrafted but really solid, that he plays special teams, really good attitude, really good culture fit, and perfect, like Chris Kasarik reclamation project type of guy, who actually has been playing pretty well over the last season or so too. So I mean, he only had 2 sacks, but he played well. He's good at setting the edge. He's not fast, and he's not like super athletic per se, but he does have a quick get off. He's got long arms. He's got a good build. So yeah, I was talking about it in a few different shows. Surprised I didn't with you. Maybe I did. I don't know. I got to go back and look through some more of our shows and see if I can find a clip. But I found a couple clips so far, and I was super excited when I heard we signed him, because I thought he could be Arden Key 2.0. I mean, Arden Key has a little bit better traits, but let's say Arden Key 1.5. It's 2.0.
I mean, anybody that has any talent that can rush the quarterback, maybe they're just, if you draft the guy where he's supposed to be, and like I was saying this to Raj, like when you get people that are the high end guys and you have them on your roster, and then you have role players. Role players are good when they're playing within the role that they're designated. If you're trying to overplay a guy into something that he's not just physically able to do, that's where you're going to see the struggles, and maybe he just looks like an absolute bust. But if a guy is part of a rotation and he's not overexposed, and they use his good traits, and they try to uh, focus on those traits and use them in ways that he can use those traits effectively. I think that's what the Niners are going to try to do with Clelin Ferrell. Like, he's
Well,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
mean, and look at who he played with on the Raiders. You know, you got Max Crosby. As much as the Raider fans always want to tell us that he's as good or better than Bosa, he's not even in the same conversation,
He's not.
right? And then
He's
we got
good.
Eric.
The game Bosa.
No, and then we got Eric Armstead, who's really solid now. We've got Hargrave too. I mean, like, there's not many people left to take care of Clelin Ferrell. He's going to have, a tight end on him, or it's just he's not going. No one's going to be able to help on him. He should get great opportunities with us, and yeah, like you said, and he's not there to be the guy right now. That's looking like Drake Jackson. But I do think we'll end up with one of the older guys, like a Justin Houston, Melvin Ingram, or
I would be even cool with the guy that the Ravens just let go, like Calais Campbell.
he's more of a DT though.
Is he more of a DT?
I know he can do. I know he can do both.
That's true. You're right. He is more.
That's the other thing about Hargrave too, is that I had somebody on, and Hargrave, I guess, kind of bounced all over for the Eagles, so he can be pretty versatile too. It just allows a lot of versatility on the line, where if they've got a good guard or center that's blocking him, you can move him around to other places, including he can play DN too. So
there's a list that I actually my buddy is this thank you again. I was like, is that a different one? He said, Clelin, good pickup. Opinion on Kalia Davis. The opinion on Kalia Davis will be, first of all, thank for the $2 super. My opinion on him is we'll see. We don't know. The talk of him is he was a kind of a DJ Jones clone. He could rush the passer, little short guy, not too big. I don't know if he necessarily would be your, run stuffing defensive tackle, but the Niners, they want to go with that NASCAR package on like third downs and stuff. You want to get all the guys on the field that can move, that can rush the passer. So, I mean, Armstead, maybe a guy like Kalia at some time, Clelin Ferrell, Bosa, Hargrave. You're going to have all those guys rushing the passer. So, I know the Niners signed some depth today, and I'm liking that. They brought some guys back. So the rotation on the defensive line is still coming together. I still think the edge is where we have some questions. Like I said, there was actually a list that was made by my boy Wayne Breezy. Here are some of the available of the 30 plus. We got Bud Dupree, Jadeveon Clowney, Robert Quinn, Akeem Hicks, Calais Campbell, Melvin Ingram, Justin Houston, Carlos Dunlap, Kerry Hyder, Jason Pierre-Paul. I would be okay with a Justin Houston, or I would be okay with a Robert Quinn. You can't have it all, man. You can't have every position have a top 10 guy. It's just you can't afford it.
Dunlap is another one like that. It's kind of getting up there, but could still be productive.
Right. I wouldn't mind. I mean, my brother was even talking about Melvin. I said Melvin Ingram would be a perfect fit.
I would love JPP, but I think he's still too much in that expensive group. I don't think he'll be cheap enough for us.
You don't think he would take his price tag down?
I mean, maybe he got the ring with the Bucks with Brady, so it's not like a lot of them. It's just they want that one ring, and then they've got a ring, and then I don't know that the second ring holds as much cachet.
Right?
But maybe.
Right.
Everybody's different. I'm not saying he wouldn't. If he would, then he would be one of my top choices there, other than maybe Bud Dupree. I think he is the best name on the. Ngakwe's still not signed too, isn't he?
I just don't think the Niners can afford it.
No.
I was listening to Lockdown 49ers this morning, and as much as I didn't want to agree with Brian Peacock, I really kind of agree with Brian Peacock that might be it. What you're seeing with the 49ers right now might be the kind of the final, group, guys that were, as we enter the draft. He doesn't see the Niners going out and spending a bunch of money on another edge rusher. It doesn't seem feasible. especially that you have to pay Bosa and you have to pay your draft class. So if it's somebody, it's going to be a 1-year deal type dude who's to me, Justin Houston, he's older, but he's always productive no matter where he goes. That's my guy. That's the guy I want. I want Justin Houston. Can the Niners afford him? That's the thing. Clowney, I want no part of. I think Clowney is a guy who sounds good. He's got a great name. He's got a great body and a great look, but he's always hurt, never productive wherever he goes. He's still living off of what he did in Houston with J.J. Watt all those years ago. So I would stay away from him. So like the Melvin Ingram, Robert Quinn, Justin Houston, those are the type of guys that I wouldn't mind, but we'll see if we don't know. I honestly don't know if the 49ers are going to even take a look at it. Aaron agreed with Peacock. I like Brian. He's a good guy. I didn't want to agree with him, but it just, I don't know. Like, I just don't see the Niners haven't even when I saw them sign Clelin Ferrell, I was like, I bet you that's as far as they're going to go on the defensive end pass rush game. So we'll see though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just a depth. They still need another guy. So.
Man, I just got called out on the timeline for being petty. What do you know? Super petty Teddy strikes again.
Where on this chat?
No, in the timeline on Twitter.
Oh, well, people can kick rocks.
I went after somebody who said that they thought that Purdy's surgery being moved from Wednesday to Friday was to do a Friday news dump, and so I saved that, and I went back and I was like, update, because clearly it wasn't, because it was going to be Tommy John, they said, and yeah, clearly wasn't. So I had to go back, and
I love it.
And then people are like, why are you so negative? And I'm like, well, that person turns out has been negative to me. So
I'm a receipts guy. That's just how it goes.
And you don't have to be negative for me to get you, but
Nope.
It definitely makes it sweeter.
Nope.
No doubt about
you
it.
are straight up a receipts dude. You remember everything. You're the guy in a relationship, because I was the same way anytime I date somebody, where like when they say something they don't really mean down the road, I'd be like, didn't you say blah 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 on this day when we were talking about this? They're like, you remember that? And I'm like, I remember everything. Right. I always try to have something. My dad was the same way. He would hold on to stuff in arguments with my mom, and my mom would be like, I never said it. He's like, actually, you did. I'm very petty in that way. I'm very, very
it's
petty.
Like those commercials now they got the challenge flag. They go back and review the film. They're like, oh yeah, I did say I'd get the tents. Damn it.
So let's see what else here. The Niners re-signed Ty McGill, defensive tackle, played pretty well last year. And Flanagan Fowles, however you say his last name, he's special teams guy. Didn't think they were going to bring him back. I thought they could do better, but they got their special team guy, they got their interior D-line guy. So those little pieces that like you were talked about, like the guys that like don't make the big headlines but are always your great depth guys, whether it's on special teams. They're doing those moves.
To back up to the end real quick,
yeah,
I still think we might bring back Jordan Willis.
I've thought about that too. As much as we want this, that, and the other, I think the Niners are going to go. Everybody needs to lower their expectations, including myself. That's why I kind of agree with Lockdown 49ers that as much as I would love to see any of those guys on that list that we just had, I really don't think it's going to be any of those guys. I think it's going to be someone who you're like, oh, him. And it might be Jordan Willis. Unfortunately, to me, it just doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me across from Bosa. That's all I got to say. And so in the draft, here's what I think is going to happen.
He's more of a run stuffer.
I think we're going to go get edge in the third round. I really do. Hell, we might even double dip. Maybe we go and we get 2 edge guys. I don't know. It just seems like the way that they're just kind of about it right now, and they're kind of signing these like fringe guys, means that the Niners have their eye on somebody in the draft, and maybe they have their eye on multiple people. So maybe all of us right now are like, I can't believe that they're not really taking their chance to go get a guy that is out there. And then maybe we find a guy in the draft and we pair him up with Drake Jackson and Clelin Ferrell, and all of a sudden we have this really good rotation on the other side. So I have patience. It's not something that I usually have. So maybe I'm going to be wrong, and I'm totally fine being wrong if they end up bringing in, a really good pass rusher in the third round. So let's Isaiah Oliver, slot corner, played on the Atlanta Falcons. Another guy that was kind of overdrafted. He was on a lot of people's mock drafts, including Lockdown 49ers. They were talking about he was a shadow draft guy. Kind of
teammate of Witherspoon at Colorado.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah. He's a bigger corner. Struggled on the outside. They moved him inside. He's a taller guy, longer guy, 6'1", 200 pounds, but he actually plays well on the inside. If you listen to some people, they think maybe he has the ability to kind of do what Ward did, which is he could be a multi guy where he plays outside, inside, maybe safety. I think this is a low key great signing. And then you take into account that the defensive coordinator was a DB guy, and he's really into, defensive backs and coaching them up. What do you think about the Isaiah Oliver signing?
I like it. I mean, Grant kind of panned it, and he was saying, well, we got rid of Mosley because he had an ACL, and then we got another corner who has an ACL. And, the part he leaves out is that Oliver had his in 2021 and played really well in 2022 after. And Mosley had his in 2022, and we don't know who he's going to play after or even when he'll play this season. I mean, Mosley's a better corner, at least so far. But, Steve Wilkes saw Isaiah Oliver with the Falcons when he was there with the Panthers quite a bit, division rival. And while Mosley's a better overall corner and a better man corner, Oliver's a better zone corner and will be probably playing more zone. Since Wilkes likes to blitz, you got to play zone behind the blitz. So there's that. And, he's really good against the run, which we like a lot.
Yeah.
One of the top ranked run.
His completion percentage against him last year was about 20% lower than when targeted, was about 20% lower than Jimmy Ward.
Yeah. And so there's a lot to like about this guy. So I'm cautiously optimistic about the signing. I don't think we spent a lot, which is key. And I think, he certainly hasn't played with a front seven like ours in Atlanta. They had some good linebackers there, but really not, other than Grady Jarrett, not a lot on the D line. I think he's going to benefit from playing on our number 1D. I think it's a good signing. I think it's too bad for Womack. Because I was excited to see him some, but
right,
maybe another year will allow him to mature a little bit more and get better at the run stopping.
Right, and Womack, the Niners aren't like giving up on him. They just you got to add competition, and guys either step up or they step aside. That's the nature of the beast of the NFL. You gotta, unless you're a top flight guy who's automatically kind of cemented himself, you're always going to have competition to try to take your job for cheaper. That's just how it goes in the sport. So Womack has a chance to step up, and then they might have two really good slot guys that they can kind of rotate, or maybe whatever. You have a guy that can play safety in a pinch because he's got the size. My whole thing is I think Diamador Lenore really cemented himself to where the Niners felt that Mosley was expendable and they didn't want to pay him. Down the stretch, we could say what we want. Yeah, he struggled. He gave up some big plays here and there, but in the playoffs, he looked fantastic. When it came to nut cutting time in the playoffs, he played as well as he could play. The beginning of that Eagles game, before all the stupid crap happened, those two corners were shutting down, man. They weren't giving up anything. So, the Niners saw what they saw. You bring Wilkes in on top of that. And I was a little iffy on Diamador Lenore, but he's kind of grown on me. And he's a dog. He's a competitor. He's a receipt keeper like Ted. So
I saw that.
He is definitely. He's got it all over his timeline, man. But that's okay. If that's what motivates you, hey, that's how Michael Jordan was, right? You said something in an interview, and then he's put 65 on you. That's just how it works sometimes.
Yeah, I said there's room in the receipts army for Lenore, no doubt about it. Plenty of room. I think it's a pretty clear message. Yeah, if we went after Slay, like some of the rumors were saying, and got him, then clearly Lenore was going to pop into nickel. But now that we've signed a nickel, it means Lenore is going to be our boundary corner along
I
with
think
Mooney
so.
Ward. I think that's just clear as day. And so, yeah, I mean, then obviously we got Huff and Gibson at safeties. We're really solid. Just need that safety for the future
Yeah.
and some depth. I'm sure, you'd be a fool to bet against Dante Johnson coming back. He'll be back at some point. It's like it's kind of like herpes. He always comes back.
Oh.
And we'll
Yeah,
see what
baby.
happens. Yeah.
My God. Like herpes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, come on, Dante
No.
Johnson.
You're right. I could have
You
probably
know,
thought
something a little bit more tasteful.
maybe a little G
Um,
rated. That's okay though. That's all right. We're like
um,
40 minutes in, so they're not going to get us for it.
okay.
I'm just messing.
And then who's the other guy? The receiver turned tight end who we constantly got from the Eagles. Jordan Matthews is the
Matthews.
second offender, and the other one was Josh Johnson, was back 4 times or 5
Yep.
times with us. So
Well, it's just
in that order,
guys.
Dante,
Yeah.
Jordan, Josh. Those guys. They come back more than anybody.
They're like the guy at your job that is like really, really underskilled, but makes every shift. And he's always willing to fill in shifts where like the super talented guy calls off constantly. And it's like, you rather have the really talented guy, but the guy who kind of sucks, he's always there. So you have to reward him. Right. So, Jag says, do you think we package some draft picks and try to move up in the second round? To me, that's all dependent on if they make another move on like a rush end or something. If they were to go make a move on a rush end and kind of lock that down and not make it a priority in the draft, at least in the first couple third round picks, yes, I could see them like, hey, we're going to go get a right tackle. That's why
that's the one.
I've
That's
been a little bit like, man, I wish they'd go after another edge because I would love to see them say, hey, we got a right tackle who maybe can play, right away, and we're going to go up in the second round and hit him. So, Jag, that's a good question. I guess we'll see in about another 4 weeks.
Speaking of edge, there was one other edge we forgot to mention from that draft, that 2019 draft. That was the other Josh Allen. It's pretty premier edge rusher for the Jags.
Yeah, he's really good. So Mariah's here saying hello. I appreciate it very much. She says it's good to see you back on the grind. Yeah, I busted my ass actually right before the stream. I almost canceled. I was coming down with the laptop and coffee, and I literally hit the last step. So
when you said you were protecting your laptop, I had visions of like Jimmy G, like you're going to hurt your shoulder trying to protect your wrist, and then next thing you know, we're going to have, off-season shoulder surgery.
I was going to ask him to go in and clean my shoulder up because I still have a slight tear in my my rotator cuff and my right shoulder. Yeah, I'm pretty damaged.
That's a long recovery though, isn't it?
Yes, that's what the one time he didn't do it.
6 months.
Yeah, somewhere down the road, maybe in another 4 or 5 years, as I hit 50, to kick off my 50s, maybe I'll have that surgery. But I'm going to just have to work through the pain. The problem with this shoulder is the lack of range of motion. It's so stiff all the time. Like I literally would need someone to just like take my arm and just crank it to try to loosen it up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Mariah, I'm a big clumsy guy. It's weird though. It was like I literally made the last step, and I have clean socks. They're wood steps, and it just woo. I didn't fall hard. It was like a slow fall, but my knee kind of tweaked. But I'm okay now. I'm fine.
Well, that's what you get for wearing clean socks.
I should have just had my nasty, crusty, dirty feet. Walk around with like clay and dirt on the bottom of my feet, I guess. Azeez Al-Shaair goes to the Titans. Definitely going to miss him. Which is interesting is the linebacker that he replaced went to my brother's squad, the Dolphins. Pretty good middle linebacker. I forget his name. But Azeez is to the Titans. That's where Rand Carthon is. That was a great move. I'm glad that Azeez is going to get a chance to be a starting middle linebacker in the National Football League. He deserves it. He never really got a chance to shine on this team because of the players that we had. So Hopefully he plays well. What was your thoughts on him? And now is this as we jettison him off? This is the Marcelino McCrary ball time to shine, man. So what was your
Yes,
thoughts on both of those?
absolutely. McCrary Ball should be the guy. If not, we still have Oren Burks to our special teams standout linebacker. Um, yeah, I mean, we'll miss Aziz. Not a ton as long as Dre and Fred stay healthy and Marcelino, especially if Marcelino steps up. But, even if Marcelino isn't as good, Aziz wasn't on the field that much when Dre was
Right.
healthy. But Dre, he missed most of 2021, right? And Fred has been the picture of health, but, we're one of the most injured teams. So, it wouldn't be with outside the realm of possibility that he could get injured. So I just hope they stay healthy. For me, though, the painful loss to the Titans was Brunskill off the
Yeah.
O line. I think we talked about like my two priority signings were Brunskill and Gibson. And so I'm really glad we got Gibson, 2.9 mil. Awesome
Oh,
signing.
one of my
Couldn't be
favorite
happier.
moments of the offseason because it
Yeah,
just puts off
Sunday.
having to worry about safety.
Yeah,
That was my biggest.
yeah.
That was my biggest like low key concern. It was like everybody's talking about, hey, we're gonna get this person, we're gonna make this move. Is McGlinchey gone? And then all of a sudden, I'm like, are we gonna have to address safety? Like,
Well,
and
especially because at first it was like, oh, he's going to retire, or if he doesn't, he'll be a Niner. And then like last week, he was kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to test the market, and I'm like, yeah, you should,
the
as
Niners
like
were like,
your
no,
manager. And I was
overpay.
like, yeah, as a fan, I'm like, no, but as like a fan of football and a fan of the player, I was like, you should. I just hope we can make a good offer, and I'm pretty sure we did not make the best offer at 2.9 million
Right.
for 2.9% missed
Same thing with the
tackles.
Hargrave. Hargrave was going to get paid more by the Browns, but decided to come to the
Yeah,
49ers.
yeah,
That
I
says
think
a
both
lot
those
about the
guys took
49ers to
less.
people. If we want to,
Yeah,
look into things like that, people rather, where would you rather go to the Browns play in the cold or play on a
yeah. So
really loaded?
I was mad at Rand Carthon for I knew Aziz was gone, but Brunskill I thought we could resign. I thought we should resign. So that one hurts just because he can play all five positions. He filled in well platooning with Burford. He filled in well for Aaron Banks when he went down towards the end of the season. He was really a starter hidden as a sixth man. And damn it, Rand. I mean, because I don't know. I think when we talked about coaching, I probably told you I thought we always do good backfilling coaches and GMs and scouts and stuff, but I thought Rand Carthon was going to hurt, and there's the first, nick from it. I felt like he and Adam Peters were the real brain trust, and I think he's showing it there already in Tennessee.
Yeah, Brunskill's definitely going to hurt, but you know, it's like you can't keep it all. And I think
No,
Brunskill is definitely replaceable. Um,
and to be fair, like I think I was expecting Brendel to be gone. So the fact that we kept Brendel and we got him for only 5 mil a
and I'm
year,
okay with the Brendel signing,
I'm
honestly.
really okay with
Some
it.
people are like, "Oh,
Yeah,
he
for that
sucks, he's
price, for that
trash." I'm like,
price. No, no,
he's an average NFL center who's
yeah,
finally getting a
above
shot in his 30s. He's not a
above
bad
average
player.
pass blocker.
Right.
He was a damn fine pass blocker.
I think people sometimes think that this like again, there's fans out there that just like think it's like every player's got to be an all-star. Listen, you have your top guys, and then you have a lot of middle of the road guys who fill out most of your roster. Uh, and that's what kind of like that guy, or that's what Brendel is. Listen, you got your dude on the left side in Trent Williams. He is your anchor, is your highest paid offensive lineman, one of the best players in the NFL. You got two really good guards that are coming into their own. You have a pretty solid center. Right tackle is really the biggest question for me. Like I said, maybe they hit somebody in the draft. Maybe like Jag said, maybe they trade up. But role players, if they play their role and like let the big guys shine, that's how teams stay good. You know what I mean? The Rams, the one thing about the Rams that I will say that they had really good top end guys, but sometimes as you got down in their depth is where you kind of see this team kind of struggle. So Like they might have had the best corner or the best D tackle, probably the best, you could say one of the best slot receivers, and he's amazing. I hate Cooper Kupp because we can't stop him ever.
Yeah.
Like even when we kick their ass, he still has 10 catches. So
Speaking of the Rams, Jaguayo asked who's going to be Aaron Donald's daddy.
That's gonna be Nick Sakiel. He's gonna be his new daddy.
Or Burford.
Hargrave's presser's going on, and you can't watch. You can go watch. You don't have to stay here, or is it not on?
I don't know. Ramilia asked if I washed this jersey. Absolutely, I washed this jersey, and it gets stinky. Woo.
Yeah.
Yes.
How's it going, Ted and Aaron? Thank you, Throwback. We're doing well. I'm a little worse for. I'm a little banged up. I fell down the stairs before the stream, but I'm good.
I had my third blackout in the last 2.5 months here in California.
That was another reason why we really couldn't stream yesterday too. Is we had you could have streamed, but it would have been.
Oh, it would have been a crap top and ear duds and a virtual background.
Yeah,
I know. I mean, rainstorm, windstorm we've had. And guess what? There's a atmospheric river rolling in on the 24th. So hopefully we can get a generator.
Hopefully you guys get all your rain back that you've been missing on the West Coast for the last 15 years.
Oh, dude, the Sierra snowpack is legendary right now. I mean, it's like basically there's all this snow and no one can go use it because they're like, hey, feel free to come up, but bring your own gas and bring your own groceries because we got none of it up here. So, it's a legendary snowpack in the Sierras right now, like all time, or maybe not quite all time, but up there in the all time snowpacks ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should. But our aquifers were drained, so it may take more than this even to get California back to maximum capacity.
It was pretty low.
Otherwise. Yeah.
We lose E-Man. We talked about that. And Jimmy Ward, both of them are gone. Like I said, I think the Isaiah Oliver will fill in quite nicely. I know Jimmy Ward can do a lot of things, but honestly, Jimmy Ward was playing out of position. He wanted to be a safety. He's getting that opportunity with the Houston Texans. I hope he does well. I'm a Jimmy Ward guy. I'm going to miss his toughness. I'm going to miss his lack of filter. I think he was a really good leader on this team, kind of a low key kind of, you got him, you have a guy like Greenlaw, you need a couple bad guys on the team. You can't have a bunch of choir boys playing football. So that's why as much as Greenlaw would piss me off, you need some a-holes, man. That's why I would love Frank Clark on this team. As a lot of people are like, no, I'm like, yeah, but you need that guy. You need that Dennis Rodman type individual or whoever it is on the Warriors now.
Frank Clark, Bosa, Hargrave, and Armstead.
Yeah, that
would be better than 2019.
Oh, it'd be way better because he'd be on the field all the time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else we got here. We might have touched it all. Let's ask the question. Oh, let's talk about the fact that we don't have a kicker right now.
We don't have a kicker.
We do not have a kicker. There's been talk that the Niners are talking with Robbie Gould. Are the Niners going to bite the bullet again and overpay for him, or are they going to just I don't know, what are they going to do?
Flip a coin, Aaron.
I don't have any around.
No, but I mean that's what I think the odds are. I think it's 50-50. I think it's we might sign him. I think we're pretty reserved. I mean, resigned to the fact that, we're going to give him a number, and if he wants to play for that number, we will, and we won't give him a penny more. If not, we'll gladly draft someone who can bang kickoffs out of the end zone on the regular, who can hit from 55 or probably 60 yards plus, where we don't even attempt. And I've been saying a lot, I don't mind the idea of if we got one of these long field goals we got to make, we could take a shot at it for once, where Gold, you don't even try. And then some of these shorter ones, you might miss some shorter ones that Gold would make. But guess what? That might make Kyle go for it more, which could be a real bonus. If he doesn't trust his kicker to the nth degree, he might go for it more, which is what we've all been clamoring for anyway. So I think it could be a win-win-win. Kickoffs out of the end zone, win. Long field goals, win. Some inaccuracy, force Kyle to go for it, win. I love it all.
Yeah,
as long as he doesn't lose a playoff game because of it.
Right. That's the problem. Is we with him, the kickoffs have been a real issue.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize the Niners, man, the way that they run their freaking and they some of their special teams coverage. I used to I'm blaming the guys in the coverage. No, it's the kicker. He can't get it past. He can't get it high or long enough to get that line that the guys that go down there and make the tackles, they're always a mile away because he has no leg. So yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see if they're not going to bring him back, they draft a kicker. I don't know if it's going to be Moody.
Moody.
When is he going to be available, and do the Niners overdraft him and piss off a lot of people again?
Hopefully with a 5th round pick. And
if
not
he's
a
available
third.
in the 5th round, you take your first 5th round pick and you go draft Moody. Noodle says draft. I agree with him. 49ers throwback says Javon Hargrave thinks he can take his game to another level under a 49er D-line coach. Chris Kasarik says the Eagles actually watch tape of San Francisco's D-line. Oh, game recognizes game. Oh,
I had a Bill Carroll on last week, who's head of director of HBCU recruiting, and just an old draft geek from like the 70s. And the guy's great. And I asked him, because he's a Steelers fan, and his girlfriend or significant other, partner or whatever, gal, is an Eagles fan. And I'm like, oh, well, Steelers, Eagles. Hargrave was drafted by the Steelers, went to the Eagles. What do you think? And he's just like, oh, I've been watching him since he was at South Carolina State, and he's great. And, they play smash mouth football. Like the old days are like a throwback team. And like the reason why Dion couldn't win at Jackson State was because they had to play South Carolina State. And he's like, I saw him come out. He was a monster at first just because he was physical traits, and then he learned to be good. And then he was like, oh, I wanted him so bad. And then we drafted him, and I was so happy. And then we let him go as a cap casualty to the Eagles, and I was so sad. And he's like, if you can get Javon Hargrave, get him. So when you said no one was wanting him, like, or expecting we'd get him, like, I was kind of thinking that after I talked to Bill Carroll a little bit, I was like, this might be the type of guy who the Niners might go for. If you're going to say, no, we're not going to get a D end, because I know when we talked, I'd said D end, but if you're getting great pass rush, I just wasn't expecting we could afford a DT who could
sometimes
pass rush
if you
like
get
that.
It from the interior, it's
like
a wash,
Chris
right?
Jones or a Aaron Donald or a Jeffrey Simmons, or he's in this conversation with all these top defensive tackles, and he should be. He's being paid like one. So,
would you consider the Niners have gotten better? Have they stayed the same? Like, what's your? I'm a little bit of it's a wash right now.
Oh, we're definitely worse right now because of depth.
Right.
But like our starting defense, look, we got Bosa, Armstead, Hargrave. Let's say, Jackson.
Okay. We got probably the two best middle linebackers together in the National Football League.
Fred and Dre.
Solid T. Gibbs and Hufanga.
Huff. Yeah, and then we got Lenore and Mooney. I mean, we're definitely better off than we were.
I think the Niners have really good defense. I think the Niners have a chance to be a top 5 defense again the next year. I really do.
Well, and Hargrave's going to help everybody. He's going to help the D lineman not to get double teamed. He's going to help the secondary not to have to cover so long, and the linebackers too. Same thing. He's going to help keep them clean, and he's also going to help to keep them from having to cover too long if they happen to drop into coverage. So he's going to help everybody on that defense. So we just need a few more pieces, D end, and some more corner depth.
John asked, "Does Mitch Wisnowski do kickoffs in gold? And gold does he?
He did for a while.
He did, and then he said his leg got tired.
Tired, yeah, just like Jet McKinnon. That's
a bunch of trash. I'd be that young. Well, actually, they drafted him kind of old, so he is kind of old. But that was
like 26 or 27.
So they're forcing him to do kickoffs, and he has no leg either. So
yeah, he wasn't. It was not like he was booting him out of the end zone anyway.
Yeah, so. Both of them have been pretty poor when it came to kickoffs getting out of the back of the end zone. Throwback's been kind of dropping some tidbits here from the press conference saying, Javon Hargrave is a very fast 300-pounder, 4.9, 50, 4.9. What am I?
40, probably. 40.
540. And a 1.69 10-yard split. Hargrave just shared that he's a running back growing up, which is a very scary thought. He says, but if you go to a team that was just in a championship game, that's an easy choice for me. I think the other one that he says that he took the money, but he would have been going to a team that was in rebuild mode. Yeah, that's the thing. If you go to a team that has a lot of money, a lot of times they're really crappy teams too. So That's actually a good indictment on the 49ers that they're looked at as a team that's there to compete for a Lombardi. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's awesome. He says,
No,
I didn't leave Philly, but I didn't want to leave Philly, but coming to San Francisco, that has been an NFC Championship champ 3 times and a Super Bowl since in the past 5 years. I knew it was a good team to go to, but at the end of the day, it's business. Okay, that's awesome. Hey, listen, man, we're happy to have you. I'm
and it
happy to
was in
have you.
4 years, not 5 years. 3 times in
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
Just to correct
The
him.
way I look at it is, the more correct you get at it, the more chances you have of winning the Super Bowl. So
Exactly. But I could see Kyle getting frustrated in the next few years. If it's not this year or next year, I would say if we don't win a Super Bowl this year or next year so 2023, 2024, then by 2025, McCaffrey's last year, I think we're going all in. If we
right.
haven't already by then.
And then it's going to be a mass exodus, and then we're going to suck
yeah.
again. I don't
But
think that's
hey,
good.
you shoot your shot, baby.
You got to shoot your shot. You got the hot girl right there, and you'd be like, "Hey, girl," and if she slaps you across the face, but at least you took your shot, right?
Never make any shots you don't take. So
that's right. I haven't taken a lot of them when it comes to women. I'm too shy.
You just remember, it's just like asking people to come on your show. You gotta just say, "Hey, look, I'm doing them a favor, right?
Yeah,
you got the goods. Yeah, that's the way you
got the goods. You don't even know.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you. No, I'm just kidding. Stop.
Oh boy, pause.
Pause. I need to keep this G-rated. Yeah,
good luck.
That's pretty much the gist of it right now. I'll be honest with you, this is like the last little bit before the draft, and then it's like dead period. So I'm like savoring all this free agency, and I'm savoring. You should say you can't take shots from the basement. I got to get to the basement first, Mariah, by not busting my ass coming down here. But you're right. Thank you, Mariah, for being completely honest with me. No, I used to work with an older lady about my mom's age, and she's like, Aaron, if you never take the shot with the ladies, then like the fear of rejection, at least you took the shot. I guess with me, it's just I'm easier to be friends with because I'm a pretty friendly guy for the most part. But when it becomes a relationship thing, I get really I act weird. I don't know. Like I become like emotionally I don't know. I'm easier. It's better for me just to stay friends with everybody. Then I don't become weird. When I become in the feelings mode where I have to like have feelings and get heartbroken or whatever, I become like an odd person. So I just don't like being that guy. One more and that's it. Let y'all enjoy. You know what's good, Aaron. No more Dublin Nick Bosa. That's right. He said he had access to watch it because of his friend can't give the info. That's fine. We're good. We appreciate you coming through with your sleuth type investigating prowess with your information. She says, I don't think I give myself enough credit. No, I never do. I think this should be my motto to live by from now on. Can't take shots in the basement. I should get that tattooed on my arm.
Speaking of taking shots, Monday when I was doing my stream with Dion was when the Jimmy G news broke. And I pulled a clip of it and posted it. It's pretty funny. I said, this is what pure joy looks like when the two of us started celebrating that Jimmy G had signed with the Raiders. And later in the show, Dion actually did a shot in celebration. And so, Dion, I don't think he was from his basement, but you can do shots. But like you said, you're not much of a drinker, neither am I. So more straight laced.
My dad wasn't straight edge, but he might as well have been. He didn't drink. My dad smoked when he was younger, and cigarettes used to go stale. Like he wasn't a vice individual. Me, I'm like my dad. It's food. Food's my weakness. Pizza, bready food, stuff that's bad for you. Anything that's bad, I love, and anything that's good for me, I like. I'm so lazy, I won't go buy it. 49ers Throwback says Hargrave said that usually teams spending that kind of money are in rebuilding phase. He was nervous he'd have to go to one of those teams to secure the bag. So, hey, that's awesome. Hargrave said he was nervous to go to one of those teams to secure the bag. Fortunately for him, the Niners came in strong right off the bat. That's awesome. Yeah, the Niners definitely took their shot on this one, and I'm glad they did. I think they want
to end that whole Defoe narrative. They want to just put it to bed for good. Just shut that, up, people. We're tired of hearing about Defoe. It wasn't just Armstead for Defoe, but now we got our.
I think
Uh,
Defoe is. I think Armstead's going to shine brightly with him in there. I
Absolutely.
don't think you realize, like, okay, so Armstead's not the guy who you look at and you say he's on the same level as DeForest Buckner, right? But you put
Mm-mm.
him in there with a guy like Hargrave and Bosa, and you give him one-on-ones, he's very dangerous. Very, very,
Absolutely.
very, very dangerous. And if you get a comparable guy on the other end who can step up, then all of a sudden, like, it's 2019 all over again. So
Well,
we'll see, man.
people will point to his lack of sacks because he didn't have any sacks in the regular season this year because he missed half the season
I
and
just
didn't
don't
have any
think
in the
that's his
second half.
game. He's a
But
disruptor
he
more than
had
anything.
Well, yeah, he had two disruptions where he had pressures, one against Tua and one against Heineke, that led to two of Jimmy Ward's three interceptions of the year were based on Eric Armstead's pressures. So that's a time where pressure is better than a sack, folks. So
You said, "Hey Ted," but Defoe ain't over it. He still has salt.
he is. Came out and he was talking about it. He's like, basically, they just gave the same contract that was for me. And you know what, Defoe? It's not the same because it's 2022, or not 2023, excuse me. And when you signed in 2020, you wanted a front-loaded deal. Defoe got a $23.5 million cap hit in 2020. Eric Armstead's cap hit was 6.5, and Jimmy Ward's was 3.5. So we kept Jimmy Ward and Eric Armstead, and we had 13.5 million, so more than what we paid those two, left over to sign a bunch of other people. So we had a whole army of people that we saved. Besides, instead of having DeForest Buckner, plus the pick for Kinlaw, plus the pick that we got for Ayuk for moving back from that, it's ridiculous. And not only that, but 21 million in 2020 is worth about 26 million in 2023 because of the cap going up from 180 to 224. So it's not the same. And what else isn't the same? Our QB room is not the same. We were paying Jimmy, I don't know, 25, 27. I think we were about 27 or 28 for the whole QB room. Now we're under 14 for our entire QB room. So not only has the cap gone up, but our QB room is cut in less than half. Makes a big difference. It's not the same. It's not the same. So anyway, there's my rant. There's a little of
Mariah
my
says,
kind
"Tell him,
of
Ted."
petty Ted.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Well, see,
Amelia
I
says
need
that.
something like that to get me fired up. It's Jack Hammer out there posting this stuff saying that it's all the same, and and we could have kept Buckner and we could have had T. Higgins, and it's like T. Higgins is a deep ball specialist. He would have withered on the vine with us, and Ayuk would have gone freaking bananas with Joe Burrow. You wouldn't even be comparing them in the same
Yep,
sentence.
yep, yep,
So
yep, yep.
enough.
Yeah, shut your
Jack.
ass up. Rams are going to run it back, and Bubbly says they're going to run them back to the dumpster. You guys, Ramelia, I don't know why you do this to yourself. I know you find funny to come in 49er chats and just give us hell, but he's talking about us. We have to rewind.
No, they didn't run it back, Aaron. They misspelled it, and they thought they meant ruin it back. Because that's what they did.
Listen, right now, I'm not really sweating the Rams because we beat them in the regular season all the time. So to me, it's another easy 2 wins next year. To me, the Niners have a lot of pressure on them.
Or three if they happen to make the playoffs somehow, which they won't. But
I just don't see them doing it.
No.
They listen. They have. It's
going to be us, the Seahawks.
The question is,
Cards and Rams are both going to be in the
quarterback. He's got all sorts of physical issues.
Absolutely. Spinal issues.
Yeah. Like Mike Tyson. It's spinal. It was spinal. It's a spinal injury. But
got no backbone.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll see. We got a long ways till the season starts. There's a good chunk of time. But Ted, this was good. I don't know if we should go back to back and do this on my channel next week. I don't even know if there's going to be anything to talk about until the draft. I feel like we spit it all out today.
This is your channel. What are you talking about? We're doing my channel next week.
Oh, because we did it 2 in a row, but on yours the other day.
No. We did it 2 in a row on yours because Shasky. And then we were supposed to do 2 in a row on mine, but you said, let's do it on mine. I said, fine.
Okay.
But I think this was supposed to be 2 in a row on mine.
I forget. I'm old.
I don't care. Ultimately, I don't care. Just send me the copy, whatever. Although it is nice to have it on my StreamYard so I can pull clips from it or whatever. But I need to figure out how to do that off of YouTube anyway. So
Yeah, you can. There's different ways you can do it. There's apps on the MacBook that you can use to put clips and reload them. It takes a
I got
long
a
time.
PC. Yeah, it does take a long time editing those suckers, no doubt. No doubt about it.
All right, everybody. Everybody have a great rest of your night. I should be on with 9 o'clock tonight with Sterling Bennett. We're gonna kind of recover some of the same stuff. I'm gonna go check the news, see if anything has changed, if any other signings have happened or whatever. But I'll be back later on tonight about 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Ted, what do you got going on the rest of the week?
I got Mr. Wayne Breezy here in about 15 minutes on my
Nice.
channel on First and Ted.
Must be nice to get a hold of him.
Yes, it is. And then I got Dr. Pandya tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, so that's 1:30 Eastern. And then tomorrow afternoon at like 2 or 2:30 Pacific, I think it's 2:30. I've got, let me check it. I've got Matt Llewellyn from 49ers. Actually, sorry, 1 o'clock. So Dr. Pandya at 10:30. Matt is 1 o'clock or 4 Eastern. That one might be interesting because my childcare is leaving and my son's supposed to be napping. So
Wah, 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 wah.
he may pop in for a cameo.
We had this situation before. That was the only time I've ever seen Ted's fat face from background noise. You were actually very angry looking. I was like, yo, Ted looks like he's about to blow a gasket. He's usually smiling. Yeah. Go watch Ted and Breezy.
That's my receipt tweet face.
Definitely. Go watch Ted and Breezy, man. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. I gotta go figure out what I'm gonna do later for dinner. But yeah, go watch those guys coming up in about 15 minutes. And
yeah.
I'm gonna just double check with Sterling to see if everything's good for tonight. If it is, I'll see you guys at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But everybody have a great rest of your afternoon. Thanks for supporting me and Ted, and we'll see you next week on Ted's channel. Until next time, everybody, go Niners.
Get some ice on that knee.